Okay, so today we are going to learn about the number one secret to losing belly fat in your 40s. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 things you need to do to reduce belly fat if you're a woman over 40 going through perimenopause or beyond. This counts for menopause and beyond as well. And the best part, you can do all of this without stepping foot in a gym, without starving yourself, and without starting another diet. We are all done with the yo-yo dieting. Okay, I want to start with 3 hormone mistakes that women over 40 make. Number 1 is going to bed too late. And what this does is it disrupts your cortisol rhythm. We really get the best sleep when we get the most of, or as much sleep as we can before midnight. So the studies show us that we actually have better, deeper sleep. When we follow our circadian rhythm, the natural rhythm of the earth, meaning when the sun goes down and when the sun gets up, if we can get closer to that natural rhythm, we will actually have better sleep. It'll be a deeper sleep and it'll be a better quality sleep. Another mistake that we often make over 40 is that we're eating at the wrong times. And what this does is it causes blood sugar spikes, which then cause blood sugar dips because your body is making up for that spike. And when your blood sugar dips too low, it causes you to wake up. It gives you a cortisol spike and causes you to wake up. So if we are eating late at night and then we go to sleep, then we could easily end up being woken up by our blood sugar at 2 or 3 in the morning, and then we can't get back to sleep. So if you're having trouble with getting to sleep at 3 in the morning, that could be one of the reasons. There are other reasons, but that's one of them. And then another mistake that I often see women over 40 making is saying yes to everything. And what that does is it just doesn't give us enough time to recover. And so then we're stressed more often. So if we're stressed more often, we're going to have a whole bunch of problems, which I'm going to go into next. So why does this even happen? All right. Or maybe a better question for this is what is actually happening when we do these mistakes? Number 1, elevated cortisol. What happens is it stores fat around your midsection. So if we are going to bed too late, if we are saying yes to everything, and so we don't have enough time to take care of ourselves, if we are stressed, then we have more cortisol running through our blood. We're producing more of that hormone, and that is triggering our body to store more fat around the midsection. So if we're struggling with belly fat, this could be one of the reasons that that's happening. Another thing that happens is that our blood sugar spikes trigger intense cravings and fat storage. So what I mean by that is if we're eating a lot of carbs all at once, or we're eating late at night, or we're eating when we're stressed or when we're being emotional, then that can cause a blood sugar spike, which then, like I said before, causes our blood sugar to crash, and that is going to lead to intense cravings. When our blood sugar is low, our body wants one thing. It wants to replace that blood sugar. And it wants to do that with the fastest, easiest thing that it can find or that it knows of. And that's going to be any kind of sugar or carb. So the more simple the carb is, the better, according to your body, because it wants to replace that, wants to bring that blood sugar back up. Now, what happens is we'll grab that candy bar, we'll grab that ice cream, we'll grab that cookie, we'll grab a piece of toast or even a piece of fruit sometimes. That's going to spike your blood sugar again. And now it's a yo-yo. It's a yo-yo thing with it's an up and down with your blood sugar, and it just perpetuates the cycle because then our blood sugar spikes and then it crashes again. When insulin is produced by your body to take care of that blood sugar, it's storing those calories as fat. Insulin's nickname is the fat storage hormone. So the more we have these spikes with our blood sugar, the more we're going to store that fat. So the goal is to have a more balanced blood sugar. All right, the next thing that can happen is that poor sleep disrupts leptin and ghrelin. These are your hunger hormones. So there's studies that show a strong correlation between poor sleep, poor quality sleep, poor quantity of sleep, and struggles with weight loss. One of the reasons is because when we don't get enough sleep or when we don't get enough good quality sleep, that leptin is what tells us that we're full. And when we don't get enough sleep, leptin is decreased. And ghrelin is the hormone that tells us we are hungry. That is increased. And so now your body is not telling you well enough that you're full, and it's telling you too much that you're hungry. So our hormones are not, our body is having a hard time reading those hormones properly when we don't get enough sleep. Another thing that happens is that chronic stress keeps your body in survival mode. And think of this as like a primal thing. When we are stressed, our body does not really recognize if that's stress from our work or our family, or we're being chased by a bear. It interprets it internally very similarly. It doesn't differentiate between the different types of stress. So if you are stressed, your body wants to hold on to those calories. It wants to hold on to fat because you may need those calories to go run away from that bear. It wants to hold on to the calories so that you're prepared for any situation. If your body is stressed, then your body doesn't feel safe enough to release the weight and let it go. It's going to hold on to those calories. And then finally, after 40, estrogen drops. So for a lot of us, we are dealing with hormone fluctuations, and that makes everything worse, unfortunately. So as estrogen drops, it's going to affect your cycle. It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect anxiety and depression. You're going to feel those more as estrogen drops. You may experience hot flashes, which then can interfere with your sleep. You will experience more brain fog, more belly fat, and more. So there's so many things that estrogen has to do to protect our body. Bone health is another thing that's not even written here. And as that estrogen drops, we're going to see more of these challenges. Let's talk about something much more exciting, and that is what to do instead. So I'm going to give you 3 steps to start with. Number 1, go to bed at the same time every night. Treat sleep like it's your job. So it is one of the most important things that you can do for your health and for your weight loss. And if you can go to bed at the same nice early time every night and get a good night's sleep, you are going to have so much better results. So aim to go to bed at the same time every night, including weekends or days off. Number 2 is start your day with protein. When we start our day with avocado toast or overnight oats or cereal or a muffin, a lot of the popular breakfast foods are very high in carbs, and they don't have the protein to balance those carbs. And so we end up starting off the day spiking our blood sugar and then end up with a crash afterwards, which leads to those intense cravings. So the best thing to do is start your day with protein. That may look like eggs, but it could also look like leftovers from the night before. It doesn't have to be your traditional breakfast foods that we are so used to. That's more of a cultural thing, and we can break that. We can eat whatever we want as long as it has some protein in it so that we get some balance. And number 3, manage your stress. This is huge because when we are stressed, we are producing more of that cortisol, and cortisol is not helping us to sleep well. It's not helping us to make good decisions, and it's not helping us to release that weight. So we want to practice saying no more often and setting boundaries. These boundaries are so important. Maybe it has to do with volunteer work, or maybe it has to do with your job and being asked to do more than is necessary or is in your job description. There are so many areas. Maybe it is even family related. And you need to be putting up some boundaries and learning how to gently and firmly say no more often. If you cannot find any space in your calendar to take care of your own health, that's a red flag that you are overbooked and that you need to start saying no more and putting up more boundaries. So what I have for you guys today is a checklist that you can have, and you can go through and click them off. And we've got a checklist that says go to bed 30 minutes earlier tonight, start your day with protein, take 5 deep breaths before each meal. That's going to help lower your cortisol and allow your body to actually digest your food and absorb the nutrients. Because if we're in a stressed state, our body has no interest in digestion. So we want to make sure we are in a digestive state before we start eating. So that 5 breaths is going to do that for you. Practice saying no to one request this week. And the last thing that you can check off is create one phone-free zone in your home. This is also something that creates more cortisol and stress that we spoke about in a different video. All right, if you want a copy of this Google Doc and you want to learn more about balancing your hormones to lose weight naturally, I'm sharing this document in my free community, and the link to join that community is in the description below this video. Now, I want to share a quick story about Betty. So before we met, Betty was struggling with weight, energy, blood sugar, and high blood pressure, right? So if you can relate to this, then this is really important to listen to. She'd already tried Weight Watchers, Beachbody, calorie counting, daily exercise, all the typical things that so many of us have already tried. She was giving to everyone else, grandkids, family, church, charities, all the things. She was being a great person by doing. However, that meant she wasn't also taking care of herself. And she was stressed and exhausted from trying so hard and frustrated that she wasn't seeing the results that she wanted to see. After working together, now she has improved energy so that she can do more. She has less stress because she's learned how to manage it. She has better blood sugar. It's back to normal. And she feels confident making better choices, healthier choices anywhere, no matter where she goes. And she learned how to set boundaries. The best part is that her husband also started making healthy changes just because she was rubbing off on him and he was noticing her transformation. So that's always an exciting part when I get to see that happen, and that happens quite often, actually. All right, I currently have 3 spots open to work with me one-on-one to lose weight without dieting or counting calories. So if you are exhausted from trying diet after diet, getting nowhere, I know that I can help you. And there's a link in the description below this video to book a free 15-minute call so that we can chat. We're going to figure out what's been blocking you and create a personalized plan that you can actually implement. And then we can figure out where to go from there. Okay, you've got this. Awesome.